Are you feeling a little bit stressed? Perhaps a little bit anxious? Maybe you're in desperate need of a haircut. See, as an adult, we're able to express how we're feeling. Well, most of us, we're able to express what it is that we are feeling. But how can you tell if a child is feeling a little bit stressed or a little bit anxious? Sure, in older children, we may be able to ask them and hope that they're telling us the truth in response. But what about in younger kids? See, in younger children, stress or anxiety may manifest in different ways. They may express difficulty with concentrating. They might become irritable. Their appetite starts to change. They become very clingy. They might grind their teeth, or they're chewing on their clothes, or they may even start having difficulties when it comes to sleeping. So what can be done? Let's find out. So anxiety in children can actually develop at a very young age, and in fact, it can often be seen as an over-response to a normal development. Think about the way a child develops. Between 6 and 8 months of age, we develop a thing called object permanence. Object permanence means once something is out of sight, it's no longer out of mind. So if it happens to be the mum that walks away, that child might go, hang on, I wanted that still, and start crying. This looks a lot like separation anxiety. And in fact, this is a path in which it actually starts to develop. Fast forward to 4 to 7 years of age, and children actually start developing generalized anxiety disorders. What happens between 4 and 7 years of age? A child starts going to school. They're not really sure about the environment, they're not sure what to expect, so they start feeling a bit of generalized anxiety at this age. Furthermore to this is that between that 4 to 7 is they start developing specific phobias. Between 4 and 7, that's when we start finding monsters underneath our bed. But more concerning is we also start developing our germ phobias. Now, at the moment in Melbourne, we're in a wonderful stage 4 lockdown. There is so much anxiety in the air, it's almost palpable. You can feel it all around us. It's becoming rather oppressive. So what can be done? Well, if you have a child who's exhibiting some of those things that I was talking about before, it may be smart to have a bit of a chat to your health professional, review with a health professional to ensure that everything is going okay for your child. But there are a couple of other little things that may be able to assist. And one of these things is being able to activate and stimulate and tonify one particular nerve in our system known as the vagus nerve. Now you see, inside our body, we've got this balance of our nervous system. We've got two sides of a coin. We've got the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. It's like an on-off switch inside our body. See, the sympathetic nervous system is the one that's tied into that fight or flight mechanism. It's getting us ready for running away from the T-Rex that's just hiding around the corner there. And what it does is it gives us that feeling of, oh, something's about to happen. Now, when you're like this, you start to hear every single noise, you hear every single sound. When you're lying in bed at night, that little thing in the corner there that moves a little bit, it turns into a monster. Have you ever tried eating when you feel like this? When you're feeling that real nervousness going on? Nah, it doesn't work so well. You start to lose your appetite. This is what a lot of kids are manifesting at this point in time. When they're feeling that little bit of anxiety going on, they might actually be just heightened on this sympathetic side. See, we need to be looking at the parasympathetic side, the other side of that coin. The parasympathetic is tied into our resting and digesting. It helps to calm down that anxiety side, that sympathetic side, and that fight or flight response. And the major nerve that's involved with this one is called the vagus nerve. See, the vagus nerve, it's a massive nerve and it travels all over our body, but its major response is involved with heart activity and gut. In fact, it is one of the major connectors between our gut and our brain. Have you ever had that little gut feeling, you know, when you kind of go, there's something about this? That is your vagus nerve saying, I've picked up on something in your surrounding that you're not really aware of, but I'm going to let you know that something doesn't quite feel right here. That is your vagus nerve. So what can be done to help activate this vagus nerve? So when we want to activate this vagus nerve, it helps to calm back down that sympathetic nervous system. It helps to regulate that balance and bring us back into a much happier position again. So what can we do to help activate this vagus nerve? Well, great news if you're a manual therapist. Manual therapy, such as that done by chiropractors, physiotherapists, osteopaths, this has been shown to tonify, to stimulate, to work on that vagus nerve and help to rectify or rebalance that nervous system again. Now, there are other things that you can do as well. For instance, we can use a TENS machine. So a simple little TENS machine like this thing with either clips that go onto your ear or even your cheek. This has been shown to help tonify your vagus nerve as well. But here's a great little tidbit. If you've got a kid who's experiencing a bit of anxiety or some sleeping difficulties, what you can actually do is get them to gargle cold water. Gargling cold water for 15 seconds helps to activate that vagus nerve and calm the system right back down again. So if you do this, you may notice that your child is sleeping better, or it helps them to calm back down again. It may be an indication, however, that there is something that needs to be further assessed, and it would be worthwhile getting that done with your health professional. I hope that's been nice and informative for you. If you have any questions with today's episode, you are more than welcome to ask Dr. Christian.